Part 3 of the speaking paper of the C2 Proficiency Cambridge English exam is simple. All you have to do is speak for 2 minutes on your own about the question on the card that the examiner gives you. And then when you finish your 2 minutes, your partner will have a follow-up question and you will have to respond to what your partner says. Cambridge even give you some ideas on the card to help you. So it's a piece of cake, right? Well, no. Although it's quite a simple task, it's not easy. In fact, it's pretty difficult. First of all, just speaking on your own under exam conditions with 2 examiners evaluating you and your partner sitting there is quite unpleasant. It's not easy, and you'll be nervous and you'll be feeling the pressure. Also, although it seems quite simple just to answer a question in 2 minutes, you'll have to multitask. You'll be doing many things at the same time. You'll be thinking about the content, you'll be thinking about the vocabulary you're using, the grammar you're using, whether you're speaking fluently. You may even be thinking about your pronunciation. And finally, the questions themselves can be very challenging. They're quite deep questions. For example, this one: what responsibilities do governments have with regard to people's health? Well, people have dedicated careers to answering that type of question. They've written books on it, and you have to answer that question in 2 minutes, which is no mean feat. But there are certain things you can do to make the task easier. So one thing that many students don't realize is that you will actually have 10 seconds to read the question and the ideas on the card before the time starts, and the interlocutor will tell you, okay, would you like to begin now, when those 10 seconds are up. So I recommend you use those 10 seconds just to start thinking about what you're going to say. Another tip is just to stay in the zone. Forget about the time. It's the interlocutor's responsibility to time the 2 minutes, so they will tell you when the 2 minutes are up. One of the biggest mistakes that students make is finishing after a minute and a half, for example, and then you just have to sit in silence for 30 seconds while the time ticks down. But you want to use every second of the 2 minutes. Just keep on talking until the interlocutor interrupts you and stay in the zone. Third tip I recommend is to ignore the ideas on the card until you need them. Now that may not always be possible, or you may just prefer to start with the ideas on the card. But I recommend you start with your own ideas. Maybe you can speak for about a minute developing your own ideas. When necessary, if necessary, then you can use the ideas on the card, and that will help you get to the end of the 2 minutes. And finally, don't forget to pay attention to your partner's response to the follow-up question, because you will be asked, do you agree? What do you think? How about you? So if you haven't paid attention, then you won't be able to answer that question. Okay, I hope that helps. Good luck with your preparation and subscribe for more videos.